It is my distinct pleasure to be able to welcome Cynthia Changyit Levin to a conversation with us. Cindy is the author of From Changing Diapers to Changing the World, Why Moms Make Great Advocates and How to Get Started. Many of you know Cindy, and if you don't yet, you'll want to. We've known her for about 14 years around here. She's formerly on her book, Cynthia, but we know her as Cindy. She's been a global group leader in North Chicago, as well as St. Louis, 2 terms as a grassroots board member, fundraising coach with us for 3 years. She's received the Cameron Duncan Media Award for her citizen journalism. She is an advocate and speaker. She is developing, raising daughters who are advocates and probably will be speakers soon. Has advocated side by side with them for a long time. She is an ally and advocate with many organizations with which we are friends and colleagues. The One Campaign, Bread for the World, CARE, Moms Demand Action, for Gun Sense in America, Moms Rising, and Shot at Life. And just as a point of personal privilege, she and her family are good friends of mine. So it is a delight to be able to sit with her for a minute and discuss this book and how it intersects with us here at Results. So Cindy, my first question to you is, why did you write this book?
Well, first I'm going to say I'm really happy to be talking to this audience because you named a lot of organizations there, but Results is my advocacy home. And that's pretty clear in the book because like Dr. Joanne Carter wrote the foreword, and it's going to look really familiar when people read it because Results taught me so much. But to answer your question, this is the book that I wish that I'd had like 18 years ago when I had my first baby. I could have really used a book that assured me that I still had an active and important role to play in shaping the world, even in the middle of my changing priorities and really changing identity at the time. I know that moms can feel like their opinions are dismissed in a professional setting. That's the way I felt. And our time can really be hampered by the time restriction of caring for kids. So I wanted to write a book to help mothers work through those barriers with warm advice and step-by-step instructions. And like I said, honestly, a lot of people on this call would recognize the instructions and even epic format teachings as methods that came straight from Results training. But what I've done is I've packaged these gems along with tips that I learned over the years and real life anecdotes, sometimes funny, sometimes moving, from me and from moms of diverse backgrounds working on different issues. And there's a lot of familiar Results names in it. My gratitude for everybody who contributed.
That's great. Yeah, when I was thumbing through my copy, just looking at the basics that we talk about regularly and getting excited that they felt so immediately applicable and powerful to you in your setting, and your framing, your perspective is as a mother. We're thinking about motherhood and those who nurture this weekend. And so why, in your opinion, do moms make great advocates?
That's the magic question, isn't it? I like to think that I have 5 really good reasons in the book, but maybe we just have time to 2 here that tap into some of the core values of Results. And the first one that I'll bring up is that moms are very good about explaining things. We explain things all day long, especially if we have toddlers who have just discovered the word why. But I like to say that if you can explain things to a 2nd grader, you can explain things clear enough for a member of Congress to understand. And that always gets a laugh when I say it to groups, and I understand why, but I actually truly do not mean it to be a snarky dig at our members of Congress. I'm just saying that they're human and they sit in briefings all day with a lot of jargon and statistics thrown at them, but everyone likes a plain, simple explanation with some good stories to illustrate. And moms do that all the time. We are master explainers of concepts for the common good, explaining why we should care, what the consequences of actions will be, what will happen if you hit your friend, what will happen if you don't fully fund the global fund. It's all of these things together. And as results members know, you really have to understand your material before you can break it down and clearly explain it to others. So that trait is a great result skill and advocacy skill in general. Real quick, I'll give the second reason, because it's so pertinent for this audience, is that persistence is that other reason. I see time and time again that it takes more reminders to get a member to sign on to something than it takes to get my kids to put away their laundry. Just conveying that sense of urgency with a patient mom face is a skill that comes in handy a lot. And just before we move on, this might be a good time to point out that I know that moms are not the only ones with these skills. I just find that children are I'd say unexpectedly good trainers at giving their caregivers lots of practice in these traits that are so great for result style advocacy, like explaining things and being persistent.
I love that. And I love the alliteration. It's like powerful things, plainly spoken, and persistence in saying.
I didn't even notice the alliteration.
I know. I thought that was very exciting.
Somebody asked me one time, they said, do you do that on purpose, like write with alliteration? And I went, what do you mean? And it's all over the place. I guess I just like it.
It's a great memory tool. So you mentioned that, not everyone, mothers are powerful. Not everyone is a mother. Not everyone has that framing, but you and I have talked about everyone has some powerful identities that they're living into in the world. And that means some powerful constituencies that you can call into leadership, call into advocacy. So like I said, you reflect on how you and other mothers are uniquely positioned to reach other mothers, but how can we think about ourselves as being powerful with our constituencies, with our communities? What do we need to be thinking about in order to inspire them and draw them into this work?
Yeah, I like the question about each of us having a specific constituency or community. So for about 15 years, I've been aware that my special community that no other results members could reach were the moms in my play groups and the schools and temples. And I was the ideal messenger for them because I understood their challenges and their barriers to advocacy, probably more importantly. So I want everyone on this call to be thinking, who can I talk to that other people can't or won't? Because I bet you can reach somewhere that I'm never going to be. And then when you think about that and find your answers, and when it comes to creating invitations and spaces for them, I recommend using your specialized knowledge to be where they're at. Now, here's an example. For me, one time I was at a community swimming pool on a weekday afternoon, and I got a call from results saying that we really had to reach Senator Durbin in Illinois, and his office wasn't responding to our results office. So I called Durbin's office, and then I walked around the pool with a little call script, and I asked each of my mom friends to call too. And by the time I got to the other side, the aide called my cell phone and said, Cindy, we got it. Stop the call in. We're reaching out to results right now. So maybe it's the pool, maybe it's the farmer's market, your community garden, something. I would just say that the other thing is when you're asking people to be helpful with results, don't forget to be generous and helpful to them as well, because we don't want to be strictly transactional about it. Like, I do this for you and you do this for me. It feels good and natural to everyone if you're building up those relationships with respect and mutual benefit. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that piece about making sure that it's not transactional really resonates not only in our connections with other advocates, but really in how we frame our issues, that this is good for all, that this is not just someone wins and someone loses. We're looking for everyone to be winning in what we're doing. So,
and take that into your coalition work as well. Yeah.
So my last question, bridging it to our advocacy month. We've got this powerful kickoff in June with the virtual conference for a couple of days. Then we've got a select group of delegates that'll be coming in for the fly-in, but everyone can take advantage, and we want them to take advantage of Advocacy Month, that's wonderful stretch of time between the end of May recess and the beginning of July recess to have those powerful meetings. So what broader lessons, what would you say to us, taking these broader lessons from your book, how can we positively impact Advocacy Month and the things that we're going to be about in the coming weeks?
So Advocacy Month is something that's like kind of new as far as like the breadth of time that I've been in results. And as far as taking these lessons, what I want to point out about the idea of a whole Advocacy Month instead of a couple of days on the Hill is that we really have the luxury of time to be comfortable and at our best when we do this. We've got time to prepare and work on a lobbying experience that works best for you and your group, wherever you are. And above all, we've got the time to help prepare those new advocates in the group. Man, all those names that just got added to results, that's so exciting. And we want to make sure that they don't feel like they're thrown to the wolves. If it takes one-on-one coaching, some little extra practice sessions, it's worth it to acquaint new advocates to the thrill of lobbying, because it is thrilling to us. That's why we're here. And we want them to feel comfortable taking an active leading role and not just being pushed to the side because we were all in such a rush to get to Capitol Hill that we couldn't, be bothered. So, I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like, let's take these training things, let's work on all these things that are in the book that I learned from results, crafting our own personal epic format, laser talks, and getting our stories down, learning to introduce ourselves and introducing our passions to our members of Congress, and just take the time to do that. That would be my connection, my bridge to that.
That's great. Thank you for that, because we all, every voice is valuable. Everyone can be a leader in the capacity that they wish to be. And part of our advocacy work, part of our advocacy mandate is to build up each other as advocates, regardless of years of experience or perspectives. Everyone has something critically important to share, and we need to make space for that and support each other in that. So
even if it's on a Zoom screen, make the space. We can do it.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. Again, just a couple fun nuggets about the book is that our own executive director, Joanne Carter, like Cindy said, she wrote the foreword, and the how-to section at the end is really chock full of results best practices. So we're going to make sure that you have Cindy's website in the chat and in the follow-up email that will go out to the listserv so you can check it out. And we're just delighted to have one of our own in this conversation today. So thanks, Cindy.
Thank you. It's good to be with everybody.